the stories of the Bahamas need to come from Bahamians, need to come from those of us that are here, those of us that have this heritage, those of us who may be living in other countries, but the Bahamas is in our heart.
Welcome to another dynamic episode of Eliot Kelly TV. I have with my friend, content creator, host, writer, radio personality. Oh, she's just such a lovely person inside and out. Thank you for joining us on Eliot Kelly TV, Yolanda Hanna.
Thank you, Eliot. Thank you for having me. We've been trying to do this for quite a while.
Yeah, it's all right. That's why we achieve our dreams, don't we?
That's why we achieve. You got to keep pushing. We push for this to happen.
Our topic today, you probably figured it out because I gave away the hint. We're talking about achieving your dream. But before we go into some of the steps that you can take to take your life from here to there or wherever you want to take it, we're going to ask Yolanda to share her story.
Wow. I think this is the first time I've ever shared my story on an interview platform. I've interviewed so many people for radio or for my writing, and they've told me their stories, and I'm inspired by other people's stories. So I'm thankful to share mine. I grew up in Freeport, Grand Bahama, and I call myself a Grand Bahama baby because I am a Grand Bahama baby, born and raised here, went to school here, went to University of the Bahamas, College of the Bahamas back then. I did have an opportunity to go and study abroad in Canada for a while, and then I came back and I finished my education at College of the Bahamas. But I've always been a writer at heart, in high school, but actually as far as I can remember, preschool, the teachers would, tell us stories and have us make up stories. And so I've always been writing, and I've been taught by some very, very, very great teachers in the past who actually shaped my writing skills and gave me a great foundation. And so, I lived in New Providence after College of the Bahamas. I worked in private companies for many years. I went to College of the Bahamas as a journalism and mass communications major, funny enough. And then I switched my major to education. I figured, let me teach. I want to teach because I was so inspired by the teachers who affected me and had such a strong, influence on who I became. And I switched, studied education. And the year I was about maybe less than a year off from graduation, I got a job to work for a private company. So I left College of the Bahamas and I went to work. And I worked for a couple of companies in Nassau. It wasn't until I moved back to Grand Bahama, I got into radio. There was an opening at a local station. It was Cool 96 at the time. It's Kiss FM now, and the owner was looking for someone to work in advertising sales. So that's how I started in radio. I started in advertising sales. I'd always been a communicator, jobs that I had previously. I was always doing some form of communication, but I was not a media person. But, working at Cool 96, having recently relocated to Grand Bahama at the time, it gave me an opportunity as a salesperson to get to know the business community. And what I saw at the time, I saw what Hurricanes Jean and Francis had done to the businesses at the time and to the economy. And so it really gave me a passion for Grand Bahama and for the businesses and for entrepreneurs. And I think that's where I really made up my mind, listen, I'm back home and I'm going to be here for a while. I didn't think I would be in Grand Bahama as long as I have been, but I knew I would be here for a while. And I decided I'm going to do my best to make a difference. And so that's when, I morphed from becoming a salesperson, a sales advertising person who tried to do my best with creating advertising campaigns, using my writing skills to create, effective and creative content for their commercials, doing voiceovers, using my voice on a lot of those ads. And then the music director at the time, the programming director, she approached me about becoming an on-air personality, and I said no. I did not want to go on the radio. And it's such a funny story because she came to me and she didn't ask. She told me. She came into my office one day. She flung the door open, and I credit her to this day for my career in radio because she pushed me. I had no interest in working in radio. She came in one day, she pushed the door open, and she said, "You going on radio?" I was like, "What?" She said, "You are going on air. Come into the studio now. I'll train you how to use the equipment." And I sat there like, but I didn't ask for this. She was like, "Meet me in the studio in 5 minutes." She literally took me in the studio. She ran through all of the procedures on how to run the station. She did that in less than 60 seconds. And I was like, wait a minute. I had my notepad. I was trying to take notes. And I was like, repeat that. She was like, I'll repeat it one more time. And she went through it. And I took my notes. And she said, "You're on air this Sunday." And I looked at her like, "Are you joking?" She said, "Yeah, Sunday morning. You have the Sunday shift. We need an announcer. The gospel shift is yours. You want music, you want interviews, whatever you want, take it, it's yours." And that's how I started in radio. And I made up my mind again, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to commit to it. And so I went and I got my music, I lined up interviews, and I had that gospel show for about 2 years, maybe a little more than 2 years, almost 3 years. And then from there, I actually was hired as a programming director for the first gospel station here on Grand Bahama. So when that station launched, I was their music director, and I worked with them for a short time. And then from there, I moved to other stations. But the opportunity came, and I didn't ask for it. It fell in my lap. But I knew I had to take it because it found me, you know. And so to kind of jump ahead and to just address something that you are talking about you pursuing your goals and your dreams. And, you know, sometimes when opportunities find us, it's not going to be what you asked for. 99% of the time, you did not ask for that opportunity. If it presents itself and it's something you've asked for, then great. You definitely have to pursue it. But sometimes opportunities present itself and we don't see it as an opportunity. You know, we find all the reasons why we shouldn't do it. You know, we find every excuse why we won't do it, and we kind of kick against the pricks pretty much. We kick against the opportunity. And I'm here to tell everybody, everything that I've done in my life this far, you know, writing, radio, being an on-air personality, that was stuff that I had the talent to do it, but I didn't ask for it outright. I asked to use my talents and my gifts, but the opportunity came differently than what I asked for. Isn't God amazing?
God is definitely amazing.
He's amazing. And so these opportunities came. They didn't come packaged the way I thought they were going to come, but I understood it was an opportunity. And so I jumped at it. And so even though I knew nothing about radio, and she trained me literally in 2 minutes and put me on air 3 days later, I accepted the opportunity and I learned along the way. And I watched the other announcers and I asked questions and I took notes and I kind of created my own personality, you know, which led me to other opportunities in radio. Had I not taken that opportunity, I would not be here today with, 15 years in radio. You know, I thought about it the other day. I've been in radio 15 years, different stations, in and out, but I have a 15-year radio career from that one opportunity. And so I'm so thankful to her. Her name is Taylor Ferguson. And every time I see her, I thank her and I credit her for pushing me in the deep end of the pool. So that's how radio came about. And in radio, I was able to I continue using my writing skills and I crafted them. And from there, working with small businesses, I started getting requests. Businesses wanted press releases. Yolanda, I have this new product. I want to get it how do I get it to the newspaper? And I was like, that's simple, write a press release. So I started writing press releases and I taught myself how to do it based on what I saw in the newspaper, what I read online. And then I started working with a local event organizer. He would put on comedy shows and concerts and he needed a press release. And so I kept moving along. I just kept developing my writing chops, which is what I wanted because I wanted to write more. And I knew if I ever wanted to be a serious writer, Yolanda, you have to write. Writers write. And so that's how the writing came about, and again, just opportunities, people needed help. And I saw it as an opportunity for me to help. I could have said, well, I'll get someone else to do it. It was outside of my job. I was an advertising sales executive. I was not hired to be a writer, but these business persons, they needed help. They reached out to me. They told me what their needs were. And I saw an opportunity to help using the gifts that I had. And so it worked, So the long and short of it, that's pretty much how I started.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And a very special shout out to Taylor Ferguson, and a shout out to all the Taylor Fergusons out there. So many in the world. These people make it easier for people like me. I'm not the smartest guy on the block, but I do follow instructions very well.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the key. That's the key. You got to follow instructions. You don't know it all at any age. You don't know it all. And when someone comes along who is experienced in an area and they're willing to teach you, that's an opportunity. Grab the opportunity. Just learn from them. And I've been very, very fortunate and very blessed to have always been aligned with people who weren't selfish with knowledge. They wanted to teach. Even if they were critical of me, I understood the criticism was to shape me. It made me better. And so I'm very thankful and appreciative for all the people that I've met and who've helped me get to the place where I am. And I'm still growing. There's still more I want to do. I still have so many goals, Eliot. So many.
What you said is important, Yolanda. My mom shared with me after analyzing my scores. We spoke about this earlier in the brief. One time I brought some grades home, and the teacher had written on my paper, most improved student. And every parent out there is probably feeling in their heart like, oh, but most improved at that point was not just the dead end. She came up with a solution. She said, Eliot, you're really good at understanding what people are telling you to do and listening and following instructions. What you need to do is to find the smartest person in your class and make them your friend. And she said, don't make them your friend just selfishly. Make them your friend in a way that you can help them. And that has changed my life, literally. So now I just go around making the correct friends. And it's not in a manipulative fashion. When you add value to people, people will open floodgates for you. Things they will not do for their children, they will do for you. I'll give you an example. A lady, I was telling one of my clients today, a lady from the Bahamas, because I didn't grow up having money. A lady from the Bahamas paid for my BGCSEs, and she gave my mom all the money for my 8 BGCSEs. And that gave me a passion to do very well. I got about 7 of those as Bs, and I got 1 A. So I have 8 BGCSEs. And I'm really proud of that, not because of the results that I got, but because my mom had left such an impression on that lady that through relationships, that lady wanted to bless me. So someone's listening to this show today, and you may be saying that, well, all the good I've done for people in my life, nobody does anything for me. But sometimes the blessing doesn't come back to you. Sometimes the blessing comes to your immediate family or your associates. So I just wanted to share that with someone as well. As a content creator, Yolanda, what is your greatest challenge?
My greatest challenge is fresh material, finding fresh material and creating it in a way that will attract a reader. I always think about, are the words that I'm writing, how will these words impact the reader? Will it matter? I ask myself questions. Will it matter? What is it about these words, this article, this paragraph, or whatever? What is it about this that's going to make someone want to read it? And when you do, social media courses or courses in content creation, which I did quite a bit of, during the first lockdown in March, I just tried to use the time as wisely as I could. And so, I went on YouTube, I went online, and I went into a lot of, I watched a lot of courses about content creation. And one of the things, just about all of them, they talked about creating content which people, creating effective content that engages people. And, by engaging, all that really is writing something that somebody wants to read. Why should I come on your page? And first of all, why should I come on Eliot Kelly's page? And what content do you have on that page that's going to make me stay? I'm in and out of social media all the time, Facebook, Instagram mostly, even Twitter. And, certain platforms you go on certain profiles, and the things there that make you stop and you actually scroll through the timeline and you're reading it. And then I visit other profiles, 30 seconds or I'm in and out, if that, 10 seconds, And so what makes me stay on a page for 10 minutes versus 10 seconds? It's the content, it's the words, it's the pictures, it's the video. And so first and foremost, that's what I think about. I think, okay, if I will read it, somebody else will read it. I use myself first, and then I go a little deeper. You got to think about your audience. You have to think about, what does that particular demographic, what attracts them? You know what I mean? You got to go second and third and fourth level with it if you're really interested in being effective about it. And it's a work in progress, because, sometimes the things I put out, I post or put in articles, and I'm like, is this going to even resonate? And then I get a response. People I get likes or shares, or I write something. And especially when you're writing, as a writer, we always second guess stuff, second, third, fourth guess. When I'm preparing an article, I have the weirdest ritual that I do. When I know I'm finished the article, when I am absolutely tired, when I've written so much that I am mentally exhausted, I'm drained. When I've drained my brain, that article is done. I mean, drained to the point where I can't add another comma. I can't put another exclamation mark. I can't put another full stop. I can't think of another word. That's how I know I'm done with an article. And it's weird because it does leave me mentally tired. But when I click send and I send that off to my editor, I'm done. And I don't even think about it anymore. Do I feel like it's the best thing I've ever written? Not always, but I'm done. When I get the feedback, when he calls and says, Yolanda, that article was amazing. Or when someone reads it and they say that it was a great interview, I'm so shocked because I don't see it that way. I think of it and I see it from a totally different vantage point, And so you have to ask yourself the questions. Don't be afraid to ask yourself the questions and kind of find out. First, you have to know who your readers are. Whether you're posting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whether you're writing for a magazine or, whether you're creating digital content or content for print, whatever you're creating, you have to think about, okay, who's reading this? It's not just about what you like. If it was what I like, well, I'll write about Bahamian culture all day.
Exactly.
Rake and scrape and all that other stuff. Rake and scrape and art and all, junk and new, But if you're creating content for, if someone hires you or wants you to create content for their business, or their platforms, you have to know who's reading it. Okay, who's your reader? Who is going to read this? And what do I want to say? What's the story I'm telling? Because you're telling a story. Always remember you're telling a story. Whether you post a thing, 1 line, 2 lines, IG, Twitter, but you are telling a story. And so that's how I look at it. And that helps me, that helps me a lot.
You touched on something, Yolanda, and you glazed over it because it comes natural to you. But my first investment in writing was with a guy called Dan Kennedy, and I bought his package. It took me about 3 months of my salary to purchase Dan Kennedy's material. And he's been one of the persons to change my life and change my development as I continue to grow. It's lots of improvement. Give our audience a real idea of the time and the money sacrifices that are involved when we're investing in ourselves.
Yeah, you have to be prepared to invest in yourself. You have to be prepared. If you're not prepared to invest in yourself, nobody's going to invest in you. They're not going to give you an opportunity to show what you can do. And again, this past March, I invested in an online course. It was a social media course I did. I did social media and I did blogging. And I did a 3-month investment. And I think it was something like $99 a month. I signed up and I did it, because I saw value there, and I saw this could help me. There are free courses, because before I invested, I was doing some free stuff. I went on YouTube, but after doing so much of that, I realized I need a more concentrated course. I need a more concentrated curriculum. And so I started looking at things I saw online. There are a lot of online ads. Businesses use Facebook and Instagram to advertise heavily. And so the course that I did, I actually found on Instagram. And I did the first one, and it was social media content creation, and it had about 8 modules. I still have one to finish, as a matter of fact. And then the blogging course, it had about 6 modules, and each module I learned so much. There were things that I am doing that I realized, okay, I'm doing the right thing. The things I'm doing that I unconsciously am doing. So it's like, I had a sales trainer that used to say, you are unconsciously conscious, right? So the things I'm doing that I realize I am doing unconsciously, conscious. So I'm doing the right thing. I didn't know I was doing it. Then I realized I was making some bold mistakes. So, I'm thankful that I invested, and it's ongoing, and I'm more willing to invest, because of the results I got from that first one. And so whether it's an online course or it's something that you can do locally, you have to invest in yourself. You have to do it, because the benefits are going to outweigh the money that you spend, and I know it's tough economically, but there's some great deals out there. Again, whether online or even locally, there are places you can go and you can sign up for courses, you can pay in installments. You have to do it. You just have to make up your mind that that's what you need to do.
Definitely. When we're looking at achieving our dream, is about what you want for yourself. And you mentioned YouTube there. YouTube is a great resource. It's an excellent resource for so much information. But at the same time, what you're saying, Yolanda, is everybody who is into personal development on that level is going to use YouTube as their base. So if you're doing what everybody else is doing, audience that is, how are you going to be able to separate yourself and have that, what Will Smith calls honing your craft? How are you going to be able to hone your craft if you're doing what everyone else is doing? So to separate yourself, you do have to go into the concentrated, whether it's workshops, seminars, Zoom and all these other platforms are great because you can speak directly to these leaders or be a part of their boot camps. Awesome. Yeah. What does success mean to you, Yolanda?
Oh boy. Success means being satisfied with the work that I do. For me, success for me is satisfaction. It's a feeling of accomplishment, knowing that I've made a difference. More than anything, I know I'm successful when the work that I've done has made a difference. I've impacted someone. I've impacted a situation. I've impacted my community. I've made an impact in the culture, first and foremost. So more than the dollars and cents for me, and I realized this, because for me, I thought it was money. I thought it was fat bank account, nice cars, and that stuff is nice. Don't get me wrong, but you can have that and still not feel successful. You can have that and the work that you do not matter. And for some people, that's fine. I realized a long time ago, for me, the work I do has to matter, which is why I'm so conscious and selective about the work I do, the people that I work with, and how I spend my time. I'm very, very selective. I create content for social media. I create content for online platforms. My social media pages aren't the greatest because I do very little I tell very little about me, but I don't care about that. It's the work that I do. And
we're like hairdressers.
Yeah. Your hair is a mess. Everyone else
Everybody
is good, but everyone else's social media pages. It looks good, and I'm on there and I'm looking but mine, I visit mine maybe once, twice a week if but that's okay, because I measure, my effectiveness by what I do on those other platforms. So success for me is really knowing that I'm making a difference. That's success, and knowing that I am creating a body of work that I can be proud of, and that other people can be inspired by, including my children. My kids, I have 2 kids, I have a son and a daughter, and they see me, and I'm always so amazed how much they pay attention to me and what I do. So outside of just being mommy, they know, okay, yeah, you wrote this and your article was published here, and they're so aware of it. And my daughter would come and she'd say, I saw your article, or I noticed this, or someone shared this, and congratulations, Mom. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That to me, that's success. The money will come. I know that the money comes and goes, and it comes and goes. But if you're not happy with what you're doing, you're wasting your time.
You are.
You're wasting your time.
Now listen to me, little boy.
Yes, Mom.
When you go inside this schoolyard, listen, you better keep your distance.
Yes, Mom.
Socially distance yourself away from
How
everybody.
am I supposed to hear my friends then?
No high-fiving, no hugging, no breathing anybody's stink breathing. No playing games with anyone, unless it's parking.
I don't play basketball, Mom.
I say parking. Now, if you got any friends from Freeport, they can say parking. You can't play parking
I
either.
don't play no parking, man.
Basketball. You can't play no basketball. Parking.
Mom?
And eat the food that's in your bag, okay?
No, Mommy, I don't want that cheddar cheese sandwich. That tastes so bad. And lunchtime, that just tastes so different. Ain't nobody want that. My friends just don't even want that.
Don't tell me that cheddar cheese sandwich tastes bad. If you eat it on time, it wouldn't taste as bad. Your friends wish they had cheddar cheese sandwich. That's your problem. You're too worried with friends and too worried with company. Company is your downfall.
Yes, Mom.
I can tell you one more thing, little boy. Don't come back here with no COVID.
Mommy, how are you supposed to stop myself from catching?
I say, don't come back here with no COVID. You hear me?
Yes, Mom.
I ain't about to be sitting up in the hospital with
How
you.
are you supposed to do that?
I don't care how you gonna do it. You better don't do it. Don't catch no cough. Don't catch the flu. Don't catch nothing. Don't even get cut. If you bleed, you better keep it your way. Don't let me see it, because you can bleed again.
And you don't even have no AC inside you. I sweating.
You got the audacity to talk about I ain't got no AC on in you. You have any AC money? You have any gas money? No, right? Go inside that school right now.
Mommy, but that ain't fair. This ain't even fair.
Life is not fair. And if you have a problem with it, take it up with your daddy.
I don't know my daddy.
Exactly.
Remind us of your specific services and your contact details, please.
Okay, first and foremost, I am a writer. Yes, I host events. I'm a radio personality, and I love doing all of that. But I'm a writer. I'm a content creator, and so I interviews and press releases, and I freelance for magazines. I'm actually freelancing for Up and Away magazine right now, and I freelance for magazines outside of the Bahamas as well, in the US, which I'm so very pleased with, and I want to do more of that work. But I am a writer, and so that's what I do. I'm also a publicist. I've done a lot of PR work with entertainers right here in the Bahamas. Everything that I do, I'm inspired by our story. And so my work with music artists that I did, it was all about telling our story and letting the world know, hey, we are more than sun, sand, and sea. You know, we got singers, we have dancers, we have culture everywhere.
Yes.
So when you come to visit us, take a look and take a listen, you know, at everything we have to offer. So my writing is inspired by that. And so first and foremost, I'm a writer. I've not hosted much. I phased out of that. I love radio. I will always be a radio personality. Any genre of music, you know, to be in front of a mic, for me, it's home. It's a comfortable place. So I'm a writer and I'm a radio personality. And that's what I do. And so if people, you know, if you are looking for, you know, if you need a writer, you need content created, you know, hit me up. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram On Instagram, I'm Yolanda.Hanna. Or you just bring up Yolanda Hanna. You'll see this beautiful round face in the profile pic. And on Facebook, I'm Yolanda Hanna. And, if you're looking for someone just to tell you a story, or you need to understand how to go about it, I'm always willing to have that conversation. I'm always willing to help people. I'm always willing to learn. I'm always willing to collaborate. And that's how I started to work with the artists that I've worked with. And shout out to all of the music artists in this country who've allowed me to tell their story. I've worked with D-Mac, I've worked with Dyson Knight, I've worked with Wendy, Bodine, Sammy Star, KB, Nehemiah, and it's just been so wonderful to be able to sit and learn from them and hear their story and tell it, and then walk away with just a totally different understanding of who they are and why they do what they do and what culture means to them. I'm a culture baby.
I totally agree with you, Yolanda. The level of collaboration and that spirit of community from all of the artists in the Bahamas, whatever they're doing, it's just that connection. People who may be strangers become family through one conversation, and everyone that we've reached out to has shown positive vibes back. So shout out to all of the Bahamian artists in particular we're speaking about, and the athletes as well. We've had a lot of athletes on the show as well. So thank you for that. What does the future hold for Yolanda?
Well, more writing, definitely more writing. This year was the year I wrote more. I wanted to write more, and I'm thankful that I've gotten opportunities to do that, and I'm continuing to push, and again, to tell our story, to control our narrative. The stories of the Bahamas need to come from Bahamians, need to come from those of us that are here, those of us that have this heritage, those of us who may be living in other countries, but the Bahamas is in our hearts. And so I've had the opportunity to interview so many people, and I want to interview more. I recently interviewed a duo in Cleveland, Ohio, dancers who are from the Caribbean, and so what I do is not just limited to Bahamas. It's the story of the Caribbean. We are people who share so many similarities. We're not as different as we think we are. And so I was able to collaborate and interview these two ladies and tell their story. And that's going to be published in the next issue of Up and Away magazine. And so, collaborating with people like that to talk about what they're doing and how they are telling the story of their heritage, that interests me. I have a wonderful friend in the US who I call my PR fairy godmother, because publicists need publicists. And so she's been pushing me to do more writing, and she's been making introductions with her contacts and lining people up with me of similar mindset who are interested in the story of the Caribbean and of the African diaspora. And so I just want to create more content and get it out internationally so people can know our story. So that's my push, to really just be a published writer. And I'll be happy. And then, of course, a cottage down in Cat Island on the beach. If I could be on Cat Island, on some white sand somewhere with my laptop, I will be pumping out content
with a cold one. With a cold
one, a coconut on one side, a cold one on the other side, my laptop, and just looking at the water and typing. Eliot, I'm a happy woman. I don't need much, but I know what I need.
I love that. We're so happy that we had these moments together. You're a valued friend. I appreciate you. I wanted to commend you for all the work that you've been doing, the contribution that you make to the community. You are definitely a credit to Bahamians, those that are local and those that are abroad, us who are abroad. Our quote today is from Tom, and he says, "The greatest mistake we make is living in constant fear that we will make one." Thank you so much, Yolanda. For those persons that are watching, if you found any value today, go ahead and smash that share button down there. We're doing the 2-for-1 special. We have Ahead of the Storm and The Eye of the Needle that are still on special. It's been 2 weeks now. We've had it on special, $49 US. To get the book, email us at eliotlkelly@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. That's Eliot Kelly Official. And remind us of your handles again, please, Yolanda.
Yeah, I am Yolanda Hanna on Facebook and Instagram, and even on Twitter, I'm Yolanda Hanna. So you just type my name, Yolanda, Yolanda, no H, Hanna. You will find me, and you'll see this face, and you'll know it's me. And I'm thankful to you, Eliot. I know that you use this platform to speak to us here in the Bahamas, and you stay in contact with home, that you stay connected with us. And I appreciate you for using your platform, because you didn't have to do it. And so I respect you, and I wish you continued success. And I will be buying your books this week.
That's no problem. Thank you so much. That means so much.
Gotta friends support friends, people.
That's
Friends
correct.
support friends.
That's correct. That's a big message as well. Is there any inspiration you like to share for our aspiring content creators who want to achieve their dream of being a content creator?
Start. You have to start. Look for that opportunity. You may not see it as an opportunity, but I'm sure someone has presented an opportunity for you to get started. And just because it's not what you envisioned, you walked away from it. Go back and find that person. Find the person who wants you to manage their social media page, who may not have a lot of money, but they really need help managing their Facebook, their IG, their Twitter. You want to be a content creator, start there. Reach out to magazines that are looking for freelance writers. I did it, and that's how I started. Reach out to them and say, listen, I want to write. This is what I write about. Are you interested? Magazines are always, especially online platforms, digital mags, they're always looking for freelance writers. You have to start though. Don't just sit and imagine it. Start. Take the first step. I'm telling you, one step will lead to 100, 100 will lead to 1,000. Eventually you will be up to 10,000 steps, and you look back and you'll be surprised how far you've come.
Thank you so much. You've been watching on the topic Achieving Your Dream with Yolanda Hanna and Eliot Kelly on Eliot Kelly TV. Never lose your passion.